Good morning, everybody. We are starting our next unit, Unit 3, which is on parallel and perpendicular lines. This is actually my favorite unit we do all year, so I'm pretty excited about it. This first lesson is just about parallel lines and perpendicular lines and being able to identify these in a diagram, basically, okay? So, here we go. So two lines are parallel if they lie in the same plane and do not intersect. I think you guys knew that already. We know that parallel lines don't touch. If you think about parallel parking, right, this is what it looks like in a parking lot. Those lines are going to the side like that. We use these little triangles here to indicate that lines are parallel. So you guys see how we have those little triangles right there? That's telling us our lines are parallel. So in this example here, you could say P is parallel, which you can use those two straight up and down lines like that, to Q. So this picture is saying line P is parallel to Q. Perpendicular lines, I bet some of you know, but two lines are perpendicular if they intersect and form a right angle. And actually, they would make four right angles, right? So if this is a right angle, vertical angles would tell me that's a right angle. And then these angles would be supplementary, so that would be a right angle, and same with this guy. So really, you have four right angles. That's just fun facts. Anywho, in this example here, you could say line L is perpendicular. We use upside down T, capital T, to show perpendicular to M. Okay, so let's try identify these in a picture. So it says determine whether the lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. And again, unless they're marked, you can't assume anything, okay? So line N and line M. Those are the lines we're looking at, and I covered it up, but do you guys see how they have those little triangles right there? So they would be parallel. They are parallel. Okay, our next one here, P and Q. Here's P, here's Q. So if I look at their intersection, is there anything happening there? Nope. I don't notice any triangles on those lines, do you? Okay, so these would be neither. Nothing fancy about those. Nothing special. Okay, and then our last one here, folks, N and P. Here's N, there's P. If I look at their intersection right here, do you guys see how they're forming that right angle? So we would know that these are perpendicular. Perpendicular. Now, skew lines are kind of goofy. Let's do the definition and I can kind of explain. So two lines are skew if they do not lie in the same plane and do not intersect. So they're kind of like a special form of parallel lines, I guess, in a sense, because we always associate parallel lines are lines that don't intersect. Sure. But the main difference is do you guys see how these lines aren't going the same way? I have a one going like this, side to side, and this line's going up and down. They don't lie in the same plane, so they're never going to touch. And I know it's kind of hard to visualize on a two-dimensional space here, but if you think in 3D, it kind of makes sense. So again, there are two lines that aren't in the same plane and do not intersect. So our examples here would be line C is skewed to line B. Line C is skewed to line B. Okay, now we're just going to practice identifying these bad boys. F and G, are they skew, or excuse me, F and H? Here's H, here's F. Well, they actually intersect, right? They're intersecting right here. There's a dot right there. There's a point. So those would not be, not skew. They actually intersect. What about F and G? So G's kind of back here a little bit. And I know it's hard to tell, but F is in front of it. Like they're not touching it at all because F only touches plane B right here. This line back here is just kind of in front of line G, so these would be skew. Okay, let's turn the page. Now we're just identifying some more things here. Name a pair of parallel lines. So again, you're looking for those triangles. What two lines have the triangles in them? Here's one, so I know those lines are parallel, so that'd be line X and Y. So you could do X is parallel to Y. Remember those lines being parallel. Name a pair of lines that are perpendicular, so we're looking for that box, right? Here's that red box indicating a right angle, and it's formed by line Z and line X. So Z is perpendicular to X. And then a pair of skew lines. So remember, they don't touch, and they're not on the same plane. So this one's a little easier to see. Do you guys see how line Y right here is in front of Z? Z's back behind the plane, back behind it, and it only touches it right here. So they don't touch at all. So those would be skew. So you could say line Z is skew to line Y. All right. Parallel planes. Obviously, you guys have talked about this, I think, already when we were drawing intersections of planes, points, and lines in our first unit. But this one, we're just giving a formal definition. Two planes are parallel if they do not intersect, right? They're not touching. So this example here, you could say plane F is parallel to plane G. Plane F is parallel to plane G. Oops. All right, name a plane that appears to be parallel to plane B. Okay, folks, here's plane B. What plane in this picture appears parallel? I think the obvious choice is C. They're floating on top of each other, so plane C. Name a line that appears perpendicular to plane B. Okay, here's plane B, right, this top one. Is there a line that's making a right angle with that plane? Yeah, right here. And that's line L. Line L. Line L. Okay, another diagram to look at. Name a line that is skew to VW. Name a line that's skew to VW. So this would be an easier one to kind of tell. So here's VW, right? And if I want something skew to it, it cannot be going the same way. So it can't be going up and down. Okay, so that already gets rid of this guy, and this guy. They're all parallel. So those aren't options. It can't touch. Actually, I'm going to leave those. Okay, so those don't work. And it can't touch the line on VW. So this line's out, so is this one and this one. So basically, folks, our only option, can we see green, would be QR, that's skew, TS, and TX. Those would be our only options. Or QU. There we go. So any one of those. I'm going to write them all just so you guys can see them. QR, TX, Q, U, and TS. Those are all skew. Name a plane that appears parallel to plane VWX. So find VWX, so it's this right side here. What plane appears parallel? Well, it would be on the opposite side of that box, right? This guy over here. So plane, and pick 3 letters on it. Plane QRS. Plane QRS. Name a line that is perpendicular to plane VWX. VWX is this guy over here. Folks, any line that intersects it at its corner would be perpendicular. So TX, have a right box. QU, there's a right box. RV, and SW. Got some options. So again, I'm just going to write them all because it's easy. QU, RV, SW, and TX. All great options. Okay, I think you should pause the video and try this one on your own so I know you can feel confident in your knowledge on parallel, perpendicular, and skew. Well, I hope you tried it. Great work if you did, and if you're being a bunch of lazy bones, well, that's okay. I get it. But let's do this together then. So we are looking at line DE, AB, and GC. And we have to fill in the blank. They appear to be parallel. Yes, they're not touching. Parallel. All right, our next one. DE and BE. You guys see how they're making that right angle there? So they are perpendicular. BE and GC. Parallel, perpendicular, or skew. They're not going the same way. They're not intersecting. They're not making a right angle. So we're thinking skew, right? Skew. Oops. And then our last one here, plane GAD, is this left side of that prism. CBE. You guys see how they're on opposite ends? So we assume that they are parallel. Okay, perfect. Thank you for taking notes. Show the sub or Mrs. Kwame or Mrs. Aarons that you completed your notes and get your homework packet. And then I'm going to start the first 2 worksheets with you because that is your assignment, okay? So, get your homework packet. And your first worksheet should look like this. And I'll start it with you. So it says we need to find the 5 pairs of lines that belong in each column. Next to each pair of lines you circle, write the number and the letter on the bottom. Okay, so let's do a few of these together so we get an idea. So if I look here, AB and CD. They're under the parallel column. Well, those 2 lines parallel. Yep, so you're going to circle it. This one worked. And now on the bottom, where you see M or 5, you put M. I'll do the first 2 with you guys in each column. How does that sound? Okay, the next one, JM. Where's JM? All the way over here. JM and IL. Do those appear parallel? Yep. So circle that one. And you're going to put a T where you see 13. P, where you see 13. Okay, so you have 3 more to find on that one. Okay, now we're doing the perpendicular. So you need 3 more in your parallel. I'll put a 3 there. Perpendicular, DC and BF. Are those perpendicular? Nope. So you guys can just kind of cross that off. That one didn't work. Those aren't perpendicular. Okay, AE and EF. Are those making a right angle? I know it doesn't show it, but there would be a right angle right there. So those are perpendicular. So we can put a D on 15. Oops. Okay, so you need to find 4 more in this column, folks. So we only found 1 so far. So 4 more in that one. And now skew JM. Okay, that's good. Okay. JM and HI. Okay, are they going opposite directions? Yep. One's going up and down, one's going side to side. Are they intersecting? Nope. So this one works. So on 2, let's put O. Oops, why did I do that? That worked. Okay. Let's try the next one here. KL and LM. Are those skew? No, they're touching. That one doesn't work. I'll help you find one more skew because these are the weird ones, okay? BC and CD. Again, they're touching, meaning they're not skew. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. I might have to make this smaller. Okay, AD and FG. So they're not touching, but do you guys see how they're going the same way? So these are technically parallel. That one doesn't work either. HJ and KL. Woohoo! We finally found another skew. They're going opposite directions and they're not touching. Okay. So number 9, put an H. Number 9, put an H. Okay, so you need to find 3 more in your skews. Okay? Okay, so finish this creamish colored worksheet on the front, and then you also have that bright pink one to do behind it. It looks like this, relationship between lines. I think you guys should be okay, but let's start this first one together. It says fill in the blank with a parallel or perpendicular symbol to make this statement true. Okay, line K and line M. Here's K, here's M. They're making that right angle, so we know they are perpendicular. Line M and line L. Do you guys see those triangles indicating that they are parallel? So they are parallel, not touching. Line L and line J. They are forming that right angle, so they would be perpendicular. And then line K and line J. So this is a good one to talk about because look, do you guys see how they have two of those triangles? So that means they're parallel because they have matching amounts of triangles, meaning those two go together, so parallel. Okay, remember you can't assume anything unless they're marked, so let's just do this next one real quick. Determine if the lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So line A and line C, they kind of look like they're making a right angle, but do I have a box there like I do here? Nope, so they are neither. Remember, you can't assume anything. Okay, you guys have a good rest of your day. Be good for the sub. And both of these are due on Monday.